From the very beginning of Gillian Flynn's seminal screenplay for Gone Girl, it is apparent that her portrayal of women is very different to that of the most popular films of the last decade. Flynn subverts gender stereotypes in her books Dark Places and Gone Girl. The women in her books are strong like villains, good, potent female villains, something that is a mournful lack of. It's a microcosm of misogyny that female characters are allowed to only be innately good, brave rape victims, soul-searching fashionistas. And even when a female character is a villain, she's given a justifying backstory, a traumatic event. It seems clear then that as she is so passionate about the authentic portrayal of women, there was no one who could adapt her books to a screenplay for Gone Girl but her. Her second novel, however, was adapted by a male writer. Perhaps the screenplays with Flynn's impact are more effective, as she understands womanhood and therefore can employ certain writing conventions to most accurately portray her multifaceted female characters. Some of these conventions in her script include efficient action lines. She uses the shortest amount of words possible while still conveying the meaning. For example, a strange charge in air. Desi thinks Nick is guilty. Nick thinks Desi is innocent. Ugly pause. Having these complex passages condensed into these efficient action lines means that on set, the emotions and main action of a scene are still conveyed, while still giving the director and actors freedom to change the line if they decide to. This convention brings realism, which in turn brings authenticity. In Dark Places, however, a lot of the script is less efficient and more just a meandering monologue with no sense of urgency.
A little orphan girl of the Kansas Prairie Massacre.
The characters' motivations are muddled and the lead has little personality. In Anatomy of a Story by John Truby states that the scene should funnel down to a single point, with the most important word or line stated last. This is effectively utilised in Gone Girl when Amy's pregnancy is revealed. The scene builds from the scene of the crime looking wrong to Nick being accused of bumping up life insurance to finally her pregnancy.
She was pregnant.
With each line, the noose is made tighter, and with it, the viewer becomes more invested in the story. These realistic, intense scenes are needed when authentically portraying women, as they help to immerse viewers in the action, and therefore to understand women's experiences. This is not the case in male-written Dark Places, however. The main mystery of the film, a series of vicious murders, is seeking to be solved by a gang of amateur sleuths, who must convince the murderer's sister to help solve it. The way the scene is delivered is muddled, with inefficient wordy action lines and clunky dialogue that does nothing to build tension. The stakes are raised at the start of the scene, the murderer is believed innocent, and then it's revealed he is only a few weeks before his documents are shredded. However, the female protagonist is made to argue against every one of these points, so it's as if the tension is built to a point and then immediately flattened.
If you and your little club want to convince me that Ben's innocent, you're wasting your time.
Just come on.
Another convention that could have been accurately applied to make the female character in Dark Places more honestly presented would be the use of the subplot character.
The subplot character provides another opportunity to define the hero through comparison and advance the plot.
In Gone Girl, this is Amy's friend in the motel she stays at. The woman ends up stealing Amy's money and running away with a man who mistreats her. This is a sign of what's to come in the story, as Amy too ends up returning to her husband, perhaps authentically showing her how women are made to persevere in relationships and situations that are not ideal. This convention can be argued to be shown in Dark Places too, though not as effectively. All the women in Dark Places are shown to be somewhat mistreated or violated, a common theme in Flynn's books, reflecting the reality of women. However, in Dark Places, the women are shown to have very little personality traits aside from being worried and angry. So perhaps the similarities between the women are less an example of the subplot character convention, and more an example of how the male screenwriter adapted Flynn's novel without giving the women any personality. It's another sign of a lack of authenticity that a film made entirely about women's story doesn't even pass the Bechdel test. More than ever, women deserve to have their stories told honestly and authentically, and Gillian Flynn was able to accurately adapt her book and tell her own story, a luxury I hope is afforded to future women in this industry.